Jake Ludington here at HP Discover in Barcelona, and I'm here with Jacob West. And HP is doing some really interesting things to kind of help the greater computing community be more secure. You want to highlight a couple of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So back in February, we launched a new group called HP Security Research that is a centralized research team. And I think some of the most innovative stuff HP is doing in the security space is coming out of this group that I lead. So if I could, I'll share a couple of projects that we're focused on right now.
Definitely, that'd be great.
One is something we call Threat Central. And this is a platform for automated sharing of threat intelligence information between different organizations. The goal here is to really take a lesson from the adversaries, who are pretty effectively collaborating today with one another, specializing in different capabilities and sharing those capabilities amongst these groups. And frankly, in the industry, we haven't seen that kind of collaboration. So Threat Central helps different groups identify and share with one another relevant information about the threats they're seeing, and then potentially also share remediation guidance or how they're mitigating those threats as well.
So how does that improve over what the industry has previously been doing?
So a lot of sharing efforts now are limited because they're primarily manual and they have fairly narrow participation within different industry sectors or geographies. So groups like the FS ISAC, Financial Services ISAC, for example, promote sharing of threat intelligence between organizations, but it involves primarily copying and pasting, emailing around to a moderated mailing list, and they produce intelligence that isn't directly actionable for organizations. The goal with Threat Central is to not only automate what's shared, but also automate as much as possible of the response based on that shared intelligence.
So it's kind of an automated time to respond, or maybe not fully automated, but much faster.
You know, the typical breach goes undetected for 243 days at this point. We need to be talking about minutes or hours instead of days. So a big piece of the solution is reducing that response time, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a really kind of a long time to be breached.
It's a real problem, and the adversaries do a lot of damage over that time. So we really have to focus not on, we want to keep them out when we can, but we have to acknowledge that a major enterprise is going to have successful breaches, and now we have to minimize the impact once they occur.
Well, it's good that you're speeding up that time. What other things are you, or is HP working on?
Well, so my background is in software security. I came from a company that HP acquired 3 years ago called Fortify Software. And what Fortify is all about is helping organizations build security into the software they build, test, and operate from the ground up, making security really one of the core requirements, like performance and functionality always have been. As a result of that background, I'm an author on a project called the Building Security in Maturity Model, or BSIM. It's at bsim.com. And this project, we published an annual report detailing what we've seen. The project is all about modeling organization software security initiatives, understanding what activities they conduct, how those activities relate to one another, how organizations mature from conducting kind of beginner-type activities to more advanced ones. When a firm is measured for the BSIM, they get a scorecard that shows which of the 112 activities in the maturity framework we've developed they participate in or they conduct, and gives them the ability to compare their maturity with their industry sector, so say financial services or independent software vendors, or with the entire field of participants. And at this point we have 67 firms measured and participating in the project.
Now, do you see these firms going back and making some of the changes based on the feedback that they see, and then the next year scoring higher?
So the interesting thing is we're very careful to keep the BSIM from being prescriptive. We don't want to say there's a right answer to how to do software security. We simply want to scientifically measure what firms are doing and describe to the community and to the industry what a mature initiative looks like. So one of the great things is we do get measurements from firms year after year, and we have some firms now that have been measured up to 3 times, and you really can see progressive deltas where they're improving, they're enhancing their maturity, they're continuing to invest, and it's kind of rewarding. Having done software security for a decade, it's nice to see that some of it is sticking.
So, and then off camera we were talking about something fairly neat that Google did with the Android platform on another initiative HP is working on.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So back in November we co-hosted a contest called Mobile Pwned to Own at PAXSec in Tokyo. and we conducted the contest with Google and BlackBerry, and the goal was to bring researchers from all over Asia together to try to find new vulnerabilities in core mobile platforms like Google Android. One of the vulnerabilities that the researchers found did affect Android, and it was pretty serious, but the great thing is Google had staff on the ground who immediately met privately with the researcher, got all the details from them, and issued a patch for the platform the very next day. And that's the kind of industry collaboration between third-party researchers and vendors that the vulnerabilities they find affect that we'd really like to see more of. I think it's really constructive.
24-hour turnaround on any sort of patching is pretty phenomenal at an operating system that's that size.
Absolutely incredible. Really happy to see it.
So is there anything else that HP is doing, not that was insignificant in any way, that you want to highlight?
Well, one thing we're working hard on now, especially in my research team, is our annual cyber risk report. And we'll launch that just before RSA in the new year, so February. And the thing I'm really excited about it is that because HP has such a broad investment in our security portfolio, we can touch on not only what people are seeing in terms of threats and kind of the adversary landscape, as many of these reports do, but we can also tie in software security topics related to secure development, and really benefit from the breadth of our research team. So it's an exciting report. We're looking forward to putting it out.
That's one that I actually read every year, so I'm looking forward to seeing.
Glad to hear it.
And I mean, the great thing I think about all three of these initiatives is that it really highlights that HP, and I assume probably a number of other companies as well, are really giving back in the InfoSec space to make sure that threats are pushed out of the market.
You know, absolutely. There's a constant balance to be struck, I think, between the monetary opportunities that the black market or gray markets for vulnerabilities represent, and researchers who would rather do the right thing and share the vulnerabilities they find with the vendors that are affected and get them fixed and improve the quality of our software. Contests like Mobile Pwned to Own and initiatives like the Zero Day Initiative really strive to put more weight on the white hat end of that seesaw, to tip the balance back towards the industry. It's great for our customers, it's great for the vendors that are affected, it's great for the industry overall.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Jacob.
Thanks very much. Great to be here.